What's up, guys? Oh my gosh, we're on week 2.
Yes.
Welcome back to Legends Pod. I'm Sarah and
Rosie.
Rosie. So, I want to ask. So, it's the second week of Ramadan, isn't it?
Yeah, we're officially,
Yeah.
going into the second week.
So, how's it going?
It's going wonderful. It's amazing.
Really? Oh man.
Yes.
I think I said this last week, but it's like the first Ramadan where
Mhm.
I'm actually feeling really good. And as I said, I was upset these past couple of years where like I don't want Ramadan and I get fat and like I just don't know like how to manage my workout times and here I am. I'm like I figured it out. I figured it out.
A lot of trial and error sometimes, but what have you learned?
What I've learned is figuring it out. No. Okay, no, what I've learned is that patience, just taking time at like and just taking it as it is, accepting, which is it took a long time for me to understand the concept of acceptance.
Mm.
And this Ramadan, I am really excited about it, and I want to ask you first, like, what did you do this week? Like, and how, what was your productivity and things like that?
Ugh, I did so many things,
Oh my gosh.
but I think, invested a lot of time in family,
Yeah. Yeah.
gatherings and conversations with friends, and also tried to be more dedicated at work
Hmm.
because I know when we're fasting, it's also about the quality of everything that we do, putting
Hmm.
more effort and intention
Yeah.
into it, and just trying to do like little good things and acts of kindness, no matter how big or small,
Hmm.
just to try to make someone's day better or, yeah.
Oh, actually, my week felt really long
Hmm.
in a way where I was really busy but present, right? And I remember every single thing like I did this week, and now I just forgot it because we're in this podcast. No, it just felt long in a way where like I had a lot of things to do, but I remembered to like come back. Like I stream at night on YouTube, and then but before that, like I love like hanging out with my mom, hanging out with my dad before that, and like I try to cherish the moments because as we get older, I think I think I've realized this before, but I'm putting more effort into it now. Like your parents are in this age like your friends,
Mhm.
like you understand one another, and one day, and one day time will pass, and like you have to appreciate everything that I talked about this with your sister yesterday,
Yeah.
or I think 2 days ago, where like your parents can be a lot of things, but like they're still your parents, and it's good to like understand them, but at the same time, like just hang out with them, be with them. And that's what I tried to do, and that's what I'm trying to do more of all this week. And then the one of the other days this week was also hanging out with your sister. We hung out at a coffee shop
Mhm.
for like 2 hours after iftar, and we stayed till closing. Like if I can talk to you for hours, I could also talk. Yeah, I could talk to her for hours too. It was just a great time. And then yesterday, oh my god, I see you like all the time now,
I
huh?
know. What a beautiful gift.
Yeah, it was a long week, but I always remembered to stay present. And I guess that's what's also made it long
Yeah.
is because like you just take the time, and I love taking the time in the morning where of meditation, just like the routine that you intend to do instead of the routine that you are forced to do.
I love that.
Yeah. And
So,
so it's really hard to do the routine that you want to do and to
mhm,
keep that consistent.
yeah.
Cuz work, you're supposed to be there on time, right? You wake
Yeah.
up, brush your teeth, like go to work.
Yeah.
But putting the effort to wake up earlier to do the routine that you want to do is tougher. And cuz you could break that routine easily. Like,
Mhm.
like today I didn't do it, for example, like cuz I wanted to sleep in. But I was really thirsty. I was really thirsty. I woke up so thirsty, and I was like, um I don't want to get out of bed because I just want to feel like not thirsty. But
Well,
yeah, the routine of the meditation and the journaling and all that, I didn't do it because it's I didn't want to do it break the routine.
And
But it's
that's
tough.
okay.
I know it's
It's
totally
okay
fine.
for every day to be different, right?
Mhm.
We sometimes we think we find comfort in the routine,
Mhm.
but remember, breaking the routine is good for the heart and the mind,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And um, honor how you feel. Honor how you feel in this moment. Honor how you feel every single day.
Mhm.
And if you want to shift things or realign things, that's okay, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Sometimes. But like also like yesterday, for example, I was editing all day and it was great. I loved that. It was fantastic. But then breaking the routine, right? It's like, like I want to put a workout in because like I'm sitting way too comfortably at home
Mhm.
and I need to move. Me personally, it's like I love that I created the addiction of working out.
Mm.
hmm once you develop it, it's like a healthy addiction that you don't want to stop because you love seeing the results.
Yeah.
So I had to break that routine and just for an hour. If like literally an hour, you get like, you know, I don't know the scientific terms, okay, but like just things flowing. You know, you get your mind flowing, get your body flowing,
Yeah.
and then you just but diving back to the routine,
Mhm.
which is like I'm glad that I did
Mhm.
because breaking the routine, just like that was our topic last week.
Yeah.
It's just like but it's a constant thing all the time that you have to remember about.
Yes, we
hmm
do. Yeah. We have to cultivate awareness and consciousness around the importance of switching things up,
hmm
right? But also finding that balance between discipline,
Yeah,
but also honoring your body, your heart, your mind when you just need a moment to do something different.
yeah. Like listening, you have to listen to your body too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, is there a routine that you've been wanting to do or that you already do?
That I want to break.
Or that you want to break or do you want to make?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me.
So I know for example, I've been in my job for years and it's a blessing, right? It
Yeah,
is a blessing. I've gotten to a point of like mastery, I would say, in
yeah.
my level of skills and ability to like grow the business and contribute to others and grow others around me.
hmm
And then at some point, we kind of get to a point where okay, I'm a little bit like maxed out where I'm at with the group of individuals that I'm working with.
hmm
So that's a routine that I'm consciously trying to shift and break from now,
hmm
where even though in my mind I do have the fear of, okay, I'm going to go into a new team, a new job title, a new work schedule,
hmm
right? New demands. But at the same time, it's exciting. And I think it's important to have the courage to go towards something that maybe you're afraid of. We tend to favor what is familiar and
Yes.
what is comfortable,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But we need to propel ourselves into that uncomfortable zone sometimes,
uh-huh.
right? And then because it will unleash potentials that maybe we're not like delving into,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm actively trying to break from. Something I'm trying to like get into more consistently is really just like for example, doing more prayers, more meditations,
Right.
more yoga, like more acts of self-care and kindness with others. And just not like having it be random, spontaneous here and there, but like really intentional, like you
hmm
said, and a part of every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh. The thing that I think about mainly is that like yeah, the routine, but I like when you dive into something that you are afraid of, it's so funny because like it happens to me multiple times because like now that I've practiced the what's the word for it? It's just like the feeling of like knowing my body, right?
Mm,
If I'm diving into something new and my body is feeling resistant, scared, we can label it as fear.
mhm.
I'd be like, "Oh, okay. So this is what I'm scared. Let's do it." So like there's a lot of like future plans that I'd like to do whether in content. I mean, I've been put into the content creator industry, I think accidentally
Mm,
in a way. I never thought I'd be making content like, after I graduated until like these collaborations happened. But now like today like where I have my own thing going on, and like I have like a 5-year plan and things like that. It's just like I'm seeing, you know, time like flies by a
Hmm.
lot. And so when I see people like who are in the content creating industry who I feel like they're younger than me, and sometimes I think, man, like they have it all together, but at the same time it's like, no, like everyone like is on a different time, you
Yes.
know? Comparing yourself to other people is like the most dangerous thing you can do,
Hmm.
because again, like everyone is on their own journey,
Yeah.
and then everything happens for a reason,
Mhm.
whether it's for that person if he happened to experience it first, maybe like as this person is experiencing these um you know what in life, whatever he's doing, you can learn from what he's doing and then implement into your own life and then grow with that. And so um I think what we have in mind is like time is like very relative to everyone. And so like when I said in the beginning time went by real slow
Mhm.
to me, um it could have went by really fast for someone else. And
Yeah.
so I don't know, time is like really crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. We have a very subjective perception of time,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variations and a lot of factors that go into what creates that perception. Some are psychological, some are physical, the environment around us, the people around us, the things we set for ourselves, like the
Mm-hmm.
goals and plans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but going back to like what you're saying about not comparing yourself to others, I think it's important to really discover the passions and gifts God put in your heart
Mm-hmm.
and remember that we're all on a different path. You're right exactly where you need to be in this divine moment, exactly in the right like place you need to be, and that precision is divinely orchestrated.
Yeah.
So just focus on like yourself in that moment and
Mm-hmm.
being your best in that moment. But yeah, perception of time. I think that's a
Big thing.
big thing that we want to talk about.
Yes.
Hmm.
The one fact I like to put out is did you know
Hmm.
that it takes 7 minutes for the sun's light to hit the earth? So if the sun exploded, we'd know in 7 minutes. We wouldn't know immediately.
That's really fast.
Yeah. Or like light years, you know? Or like we talked about the heaven.
Uh,
Tell me about it. What did you learn?
okay.
Yeah. This one, this one's a crazy topic. This
So,
is a
where should we
crazy
start? Our
fact.
perception of time. What impacts our perception of
We
time?
can. Let's go with there.
I mean, we could start with our lovely friend Einstein and his theory of relativity.
Oh,
It's too early for that.
we're going there. Let's go. Let's go. I'm in.
So basically, my understanding is the closer, okay, so time travels, light travels extremely faster,
Hmm.
right, than we imagine.
Right.
We grew up learning a lot of references to like time and the speed of time,
Hmm.
such as, you know, a day in the heavens is it could be like 1,000 days for us here on
Hmm.
earth, right?
Hmm.
Um, I heard a story that was really interesting lately, and it was about Noah. And the story was that Noah lived over 1,000 years. But when he was asked about his perception of time, you know what he said?
Tell me.
I felt like I approached a small little home. I entered from one door, took a couple steps, and the next second I stepped out of the back door.
Wow. So it happened
And
like that.
and that it happened in the blink of an eye, and that was 1,000 years of life.
Wow.
So I think what I want to start with is we may think I need more time, I need more time. That's the biggest thing, right?
Hmm.
But really, it's capitalizing on that precious gift of time,
Hmm.
realizing what things we could do to slow it down,
Hmm.
right? And really making the most of it. But also always remembering we have a huge responsibility for the time that the divine gives to us.
Because we can't get it back.
We cannot get it back, but
Yes.
also we're accountable for every minute.
Hmm.
What are we doing with our time? And we're responsible to explain that and talk about that and justify that and
Mhm.
be responsible for those choices we made with our time.
Yeah. And it's sometimes like, when you hear the experiences from older people
Mm-hmm.
and they go, like, I wish I did this or I wish I did that. And like that regret comes in
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And it's just like, they they think they didn't use their time wisely. God knows what they did.
Yeah.
But it's a scary thing because you want to be as productive as possible, but at the same time you want to stop and like enjoy the present.
Yeah.
And it's tough because we're all trying to get to a goal, and especially in LA, we're a go 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 all the time.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, if you visit like maybe a different country or a different state, everyone's like some people have it like so mellow because it's not
Yeah.
a busy environment.
Exactly.
My friend, she lives in San Diego. I mean, the environment is completely different because I feel like, I mean, maybe older folks live in San Diego, I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but everyone's like mellow and like take it easy and
So
like,
chill.
so chill.
Yeah. I agree with you. I used to travel a lot to Texas, like a couple times every year,
Mhm.
and the pace of life in Texas is so different. And I would ask myself, why? Like, I felt like I was on a different timetable. My days felt long. I felt like I had so much calmness.
Mhm.
But it's true, like, different places have a different energy and a different pace.
Mhm.
But it had to do with the culture
Mhm.
and the way people are choosing to live their life, but also what did they prioritize?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Going back to like perception of maybe people feeling like, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that, or I don't have enough time for this.
Mhm.
I think we have an innate feeling about this because that's how our body is biologically and chemically set up, right?
Yeah.
So our body is designed for longer periods of parasympathetic system activations.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is that?
So in our body, we have the sympathetic system and the
Okay.
parasympathetic system.
Okay, tell me about it.
The sympathetic system is like our drive, our energy, our go, our focus, concentration, digestion, right? Sorry, no, not the digestion. Not the digestion part. It's our go, go, go.
Yeah.
It's our drive, right? Motivation, passion.
You said parasympathetic.
The sympathetic.
Sympathetic. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like my waking moments, right? Like I feel like the sympathetic aligns with like the daylight and that circadian rhythm.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then the parasympathetic system is like more of like our night circadian cycle, but it's also like the time we spend like when we are digesting, sleeping, meditating, praying. It's like that slower pace. But my understanding is like our body's set up for more of parasympathetic system activation and less of sympathetic. And kind of like that's where we're able to go into the fight or flight response, like as needed, right? But what's happening, like you said, our LA life is more sympathetic activation majority of the time.
Yeah.
But what is that doing? That's costing us a lot, right? We're not just in terms of our time perception, but also in our health.
It's like shortening our like lifespan too. Yeah.
So people are, rush, rush, rush. They tend to have more health issues, more anxiety, more, right? Like things like that. Where if we find ourselves activating our parasympathetic system, it could be as simple as, you know what? I'm going to do a yoga class. I'm going to do an extra 10 minutes on meditation. I'm going to take a salt bath. I'm going to do an extra prayer. Anything that makes your heart happy. Stop and smell the roses. Look at a butterfly fly by and enjoy the colors of the wings, like, and look at the level of detail.
Yeah.
Like you said the other day, in the flower.
Yeah, the detail in the flower.
That's a moment of
That's where I got
sympathetic Zen moment.
That's where I got high.
And there's a lot of ways to get high without getting high.
Yeah.
Right?
Not that we know how to get high. I mean, like, I've never smoked weed in my life. So, like, I've never felt high before. But, like, I can have a slight idea of just being in the parasympathetic state. I like that.
It's very important.
Yeah.
To balance that. Because also it has costs on our hormonal balance. It affects the endocrine system, right? It has effects on our cardiovascular health. So it has a lot of impacts.
Yeah, the mind is very powerful. Yeah, I mean, like, clearly, like, mental health now is being more recognized as like, yeah, like mental health can actually, if you take care of the mind, you can take care of your body. And it's crazy because, like, two things, right? If you believe, like, if you're chilling, if your body's, very healthy, but if you believe that you're sick, whether, in any sort of way, then your body will get sick.
Yes.
And your brain will release like the toxins, like that just negative energy,
Mhm.
and just spread it all over your body. And if your mind believes that you're healthy, then like it will do its best to like, you know, get rid of anything that can harm your body. And of course, like there's medication, things like that, but the mind is like the greatest medication. And we're talking about time, but I just love like just the health aspect of like, if your mind is healthy, then time is moving slow, because because like there's two things, right? Like when you start you, I don't know why, but like I was going back to Mondays.
Okay.
Mondays are just so long, but like we have two different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're like, oh, we want time to go by faster
Yeah.
because we want to leave work, but it's going by real slow because you're, I guess, dreading of like in the area that you're in. But it's like, why don't you take that time
Hmm.
to elevate?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Elevate your skill set.
Yeah.
Invest in mentoring someone else. I
Mhm.
mean, that's an amazing thing to do,
Yeah.
right? If you feel like you've mastered certain skill sets, contribute maybe to your team or to your partners.
Mhm.
If you feel like you're dreading a Monday, okay, the Monday blues. um, Honestly, it's a chance to reflect and find, what are my passions? Are my passions aligning with my work? Because also that has to do a lot with our perception of time. If I'm getting up to do something I'm passionate about and I'm so excited, right, to go to work and contribute to others, right?
Mhm.
I'm not going to have that a struggle with that feeling.
But you also have to like, practice being excited to go to work, because like, there's a time there are going to be times where like someone doesn't like their job.
Mhm.
But you have two things you can do. One, quit. Two, you have to make it enjoyable for yourself, because you are going to just hate your life completely if you're not going to enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
It's very like hard, but it's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but you know what? You could use it as an opportunity. You can use it as a chance to build discipline,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can, I mean, so commitment and loyalty I think, is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're going through challenges, like in any relationship, work, personal, right? Like you said, it's okay to have a moment of struggle,
Yeah,
right?
it's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
Exactly.
That's what people forget. It's like you're not the only one going through it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a human experience.
You're not the only one dreading a Monday. I promise you're not the only one.
And sometimes having that bigger perspective of, I'm not the only one struggling with this. All
Mhm.
humanity is.
Yeah, we're
Right?
humans. Yeah.
Then we're like, oh, okay, it's not that big of a deal.
No,
Right?
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
see, and that's like the relief part,
Mhm.
where it's like, oh, well, okay,
It's
like
normal.
it's normal.
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah.
you know, you may like, if you're struggling with something and the person that's with you may not,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean someone else out there isn't.
Mhm.
And like, you have to understand, like, humanity, souls, we're all kind of one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're human, right? So even though I want to think of myself as like this all powerful, like transcended, enlightened person,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know what? It's okay to have struggles throughout the day, moments where things are hard, maybe a moment of panic or anxiety. Like that is not a reason to ever quit on something. It's
Mhm.
actually a reason to push and propel yourself forward,
Mhm.
because believe me, if you are rising above any kind of like challenge or adversity, it's going to build perseverance within yourself,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes we're in that moment to learn, and I really believe the hardest moments are our biggest teacher.
Mhm.
And sometimes we encounter difficult people or situation, and in the moment we're like, oh, why do I have to be here and deal with this?
So
But
I-
then in the end you'll learn, right?
Yeah. So I saw this quote yesterday. I really, really recommend you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
And I need you to watch also like The Legend of Korra.
We can watch it together.
Oh yeah. I'll watch those shows again and again and again.
Okay.
And so there was a scene where, so just to tell you what Avatar is all about, there's 4 elements everyone can bend: air, earth, water, and fire.
Mhm.
There's 4 elements. There's one person who can bend all of them, and that's called the Avatar, right? And this one brings balance and peace into the world because it's one person that has bends all the elements can balance everything, whatever. Like that. That's the whole concept of the story.
Okay.
So in Legend of Korra, there's a moment in time where she lost all of her bending abilities, and so she meets like one of her past selves, past avatars named Aang, and then he said, when you at your lowest point, you are open to the change of and the possibilities of change. And so like when you were saying that, like if you're struggling, things like that, but the perseverance and the time it takes for you to get to this point, it's like so rewarding
Mhm.
because you yourself are putting the effort to become a better person, to experience like change in your life and in the struggle.
Yes.
And so what I also want to like mention is that like how much we're going back to time, how much time is flying by, you know?
Mhm.
And as we grow older, time flies so fast. And it's like for me, like for example, I graduated college like 5 years ago now, and I graduated high school 10 years ago. We just had our high school 10-year reunion.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
And this time just flew by like that. Like, where did the time go? What did I do? That's like the thing that sometimes I look back and like it was just a split second, like where you see if you can regret any decisions that you made,
Yeah.
and it's just like you can't do that. And what I watched recently was, and I showed you the video where Casey Neistat describes like a very he described it in M&Ms, okay? he described time with M&Ms. And he said
Okay.
he has like a 5-year-old daughter and he's 37. So like if she's 5 years old, she said like a year to her is 20% of her life. But a year to him is like only like 5% or like 2% of his life. So like he said that remember when you're younger is that you think 1 year goes by like an eternity. It takes forever. And I remember, do you remember feeling that when you were younger? Like how like 1 year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And every older person used to tell me, like, when you get to my age, time flies by.
Yeah.
How many times did we hear that?
Yeah, and I'm like experiencing. I'm like, I don't want to feel this, man. I don't
But
want to do it. I don't.
but there's a lot of things that contribute to our perception of time,
Mhm.
and we can take active steps to create more quality of time,
Yeah.
right? So, what are some things you feel like give you that quality time, or like that calmer, slower paced perception of time?
I think it's doing things that, believe it or not, like it, I don't want to say it, but it's like things that like elevate me. I have to put a lot of time into and have to put a
Okay.
lot of effort, and it have to be in that go 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 phase.
Yeah.
Things that elevate you in terms of like um financially, you know, uh, that in that environment. What the the quality of time of me doing things, like to answer your question, it's doing things that doesn't require a lot of like effort in a way. Where like I mean, of course I've practiced like a lot of like meditation and like love and things like that, but I think the quality is just spending time with people you love, sitting down with them, not having a care in the world of what time it is. Like for example, yesterday was that feeling
Yeah.
in a way
Hmm.
where we don't have the concept of time with us, but we're enjoying like every single moment in the now.
Yes.
I think the quality of time with quality people is my answer.
That's very important.
Hmm.
I know how many times are we sitting down and speaking to someone, and maybe they're scrolling on their phone, or they're having other conversations with other individuals and not feeling that
Excuse me a
personal
second. No, I'm just
level of attention. Exhibit A.
just kidding.
Not feeling not feeling that level of attention. But yeah, I believe that like quality of time contributes to our perception of time.
Mhm.
Definitely. I know also if you do things that you're very passionate about, right?
Yeah.
So like for me, it's going into a yoga class, for example.
I love that.
For you, it may be like going into a martial arts practice,
Yeah,
right?
that one's a good one.
That's a really, and I know you invest a lot of time in that, but like if you reflect on that time, it feels like, wow, that's a time I invested. It's quality well spent,
Yeah. But
right?
the thing is, like yesterday, for example, when I was telling you I was editing all day, I wanted all the time in the world. I wanted time to go so slow because I know the day goes by fast, and it, just like that, the day just finished,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, what did I do? Like I'm not even,
Yeah.
I'm not even know what I want to do, kind of thing. And it's just like you're having a great time, but it's like it's also that feeling of like, man, I just wish I had a little more time
Yeah.
because you're doing something you love, and now you have to wait till the next day to like restart.
Mm-hmm.
And just time itself is such a treasure that like you have to, make sure that every second counts.
Yes, we do.
Man, it's crazy.
So something I learned recently more about of is um, how to cultivate more of that quality and slower pace.
Okay.
And it was through connecting more with the divine.
She defined the divine last. Well, you can't define the divine, but you explained it very well. She is in you.
So if I think of the divine as the ultimate being made of the most beautiful, brightest light,
Mhm.
and we see how fast like the speed of light is,
Mhm.
right? Um, doing things that allow us to connect with that light, I think are going to create more of that calmness in our time perception. So, for example, spending time, and I know like we grew up learning about a lot of like the sages and the prophets and the messengers dedicating a lot of time in contemplation in nature,
Mhm.
right? Going out and sitting in a cave for weeks and months.
Surah Al-Kahf. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know,
Do you know
maybe.
that surah? Do you know that story?
Hmm.
It's yeah,
Yes, and
yeah,
oh, we should definitely talk about
yeah. Of
that.
course.
But
Well, you said cave,
there's a
so
value of that. Yeah, there is.
yeah.
Um, I think in this life, we're always like, we're looking at our Apple watches, we're looking at, and we love them. Amazing. But, like, example, we're looking at our
Shout out to
watches,
Apple.
we're looking at, thank you, Apple, for making our life amazing. But, we're focusing a lot on like our phones and we're looking at watches and we're speeding on the freeway and we're also doing things on our phone while we're on the freeway because, we got to get things done, right?
Uh-huh.
Someone has to.
Right.
And that's also going to make us feel like, oh my God, I don't have time.
Mhm.
But in comparison, like there are people now doing digital detoxes and going out in like a desert or a mountain or a cave and not taking any kind of indication
Technology,
of
yeah.
time, technology, or connection to others and
Mhm.
just being.
Yeah, that is the greatest medicine.
And they did a lot of studies on things like that. And they found that these individuals described the hour longer than what an hour is, the minute longer than what a minute is, because their perception of it was different.
Mhm.
But it's still the same physical
Time is time.
time
Time
frame.
time doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy part.
Mm-hmm.
A second will always be a second.
Mm-hmm.
But like your mind will slow down that second.
But also we
It's like,
think of it as
what?
like a linear progression, but it's not always, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
right? Um, there's a lot of people who explain time in terms of the past, present, and future being all together in this moment right here, right now.
I kind of wanted to bring this up. Like, when you have like a deja vu moment, and
Yeah,
you're like, dude, I've
I love
experienced this
those.
before. I love those too.
I love those.
I love it. So what I've learned, you can tell me yours. I'd love to hear your view on it. Deja vu from like an Islamic standpoint, where it's like um because in the Quran it mentions like the things that we are going to experience, he talks about it as if it already happened,
Hmm.
and that's like the crazy part to me. It's like you will say this is like this happens, and like it's like he's talking about it in the present but at the future at the same time.
Hmm.
And I'm like, did this happen already? And we're just getting to that point. So when we talk about deja vu, when you sleep, your soul leaves your body,
Yeah.
you know? And so does your soul go through the time dimensions to places where you yourself as a body, physical body figure, like are there already? In a way, it's so hard to put it into words.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, your soul will experience, like for example, my soul experienced this moment of you and I talking into a podcast, but it hasn't happened yet. And then I
Yeah.
sit weeks or months later and I
Mhm.
sit down here, I was like, oh my God, I think I've done this before. But
Mhm.
you really haven't.
Mhm.
But you have that feeling, and it's just like, so the soul and the perception of time, it's just relative, you
Yes,
know?
and the soul transcends the physical body.
Yeah.
The soul, like when we go to sleep, it will fly at the speed of light and go to the past and the present and the future.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're connecting with people across the continent in a different world in a
Mhm.
different time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And those experiences are, they feel real, and I think they are
I
real.
think they
Like they're
are
a real
real.
manifestation of
Yeah,
an experience.
exactly.
Um, but also it's a pretty magical thing
Mm-hmm.
because we're taught like I don't know how to say the exact phrase, but
Is
like
it been out of me?
it is an Arabic, and
Say
I
it.
don't want to mess it up. Like
Okay.
it's something that talks about, we asks about ar-ruh,
Yeah.
the soul.
Yeah.
Um and God has revealed to you a little bit of that knowledge about the soul,
Yeah.
but intentionally not like the entire knowledge or a lot more of it, because it is a mystical, mysterious, magical thing.
But like, you know, and of course it's like it's hikmah, it's khair, it's all that. Like you have to believe in that
Mhm.
because that's what, like, you know, he said it's not like it's not worth it for you to know about it right now. Like I think that like there's no point to it in the
Yeah.
moment. And I remember like I was talking about with my cousin, and like we're talking about like believing in the unknown,
Mhm.
right? Like the jinn, for example, you
Mhm.
know, and it's like he was telling me like it's kind of hard to believe in it because you don't see it. I'm
Mhm.
like, well, do you see God? He's like, no, and I was like
There
there's
you
the
go.
hikmah, like there's the khair,
Yeah.
you know, but it's like uh going back to time, like I just I lost my train of thought, but we're talking about like the soul and the transcending part.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean I don't know that the time itself of it, like even when the soul goes into the past,
Mhm.
or if you meet someone in the past, have you like have you had a dream of you meeting someone who's already passed, seeing someone that passed away?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
and there's always meanings to it.
And also, yeah, definitely. And the beautiful thing is that you can interpret it. You can interpret it
Yeah,
yourself as it applies to you and draw meaning from it, where to the next person might explain it differently.
yeah, there are dream experts.
Yeah.
There's a dream about books. There's a
Mhm.
book about dreams.
Yeah.
There's a book about dreams.
Mhm.
Like for example, like you know, Teta Allah yarhamha,
Allah.
she passed away. I think like oh my god, 2016. I'm not. I forgot. Like it's been a long time. She popped up into my dream recently, but like not recently, maybe a couple of years ago. But that's what I see as recently. And it's
Yeah.
like the thing that you see, right? What do you see in this person in your dream? Because isn't it true that like whatever you see, what the person's doing in your dream is it's who has passed already. It's kind of like the truth in a way. Like for, let me tell you what happened. I'm like so
Okay.
my the dream that I was having with Teta is that she was wearing white and she was living in a big mansion.
That's so beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. So and I really wanted to tell my amtos this because
Oh,
it's their mom. It's you know it's their Teta, and I just want to let them know like
yeah.
if whatever the dream interpretation is, it's true. And what it meant is that she's living happy,
Hmm.
and she's like in the heavens, and she's comfortable
Yeah.
because she's in a big house. And وإحنا كلنا متجمعين كل العيلة متجمعين, you know.
Oh.
And it was such a wonderful moment because she didn't say a word, she was smiling. I was like that right now. It's making my heart like go like feel so light because it's just like oh wow, like she's good, like she's okay, you know. going back to the soul part, it's just like whatever your soul experiences outside of your physical form, because like dimensions do exist, all of these do exist. It's just our mind is not capable of thinking to that caliber.
Hmm.
And what I've one more thing is that I know when my friend told me one time, like astaghfirullah, like some people think like, what does God look like? Like astaghfirullah, like
Hmm.
we can't even, he purposely did to put that in our minds to not to have it so complicated, to not, our mind is not capable of thinking that big.
Yeah.
No matter how amazing our mind is, of course he created it. So it's like he knows like the limits. But your mind is strong. I don't know. It's just the soul. That's just the main thing. Like the soul can. This just the soul has so many uh roots of the topic.
You know what I think it is?
Hmm.
So we are created from the breath of the divine,
Hmm.
right? And we basically, like, at some point, humans were living in the highest level of the sky,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And were brought down to earth. And if you think about all of that, it it might have been like 50,000 years ago for us, but it's like a second away. Like it just happened right now,
Yeah.
right? But I think a part of us always remembers and has that inner knowing of, my mind and my heart has that capability of transcendence, of elevating, of ascending.
Hmm.
And we're always trying to go in that direction,
Hmm.
right? It's an innate drive
Hmm.
that we don't forget. And the more we strive towards things that are like detoxification, purification, connection with the divine, the more I feel like we can slowly ascend to that remembrance,
Hmm.
right? But you're right. There are parameters of the human mind and heart, and those are intentional, and we have to trust that they are for our own good,
Hmm.
even though to us we may perceive them as limitations.
Yes.
Because our
Yeah.
mind, imagine,
Curiosity. It's just
it
curiosity.
is human nature,
Yeah.
yeah. But I heard one time someone explain it like this: if you think you want to experience, and let's say seeing an angel, for example, right?
Yeah.
And you want to, and you think your mind can handle it. But if you saw an angel protecting you in a moment of you needing defense against like an evil force, your mind could not understand like the magnitude, the size, the length, the height, the width, like how that entity looks like,
The size.
right?
Like
Um,
there was a thing, sorry to cut you off, but
no,
like
it's
there was
okay.
like isn't it true, like for example, Angel Jibril
Hmm.
has like an, I don't know how many wings he has.
I can do like a whole 7 hours talk about that. And
But it's just the
mhm,
magnitude of what your mind is capable of receiving
yes.
that is limited for a reason. And we
Hmm.
have to accept that, you know?
Even, yeah.
And in the Quran, it's like, it, it's just the book that just like, I think just everything that's written there is just for your own good, for your own sake. And then when the time is right, in this situation, you will experience it. One thing that I wanted to, we've touched on about it. We didn't get the chance. We can talk about it in the next podcast, so stay tuned. But the concept of understanding and reaching the no place, no thing, no time of meditation,
Mhm.
for understanding like the concept of like slowing down time, the pineal gland. And in society we are so accustomed to like go go go, like no time, like no time for yourself. But it's just been so, it was larger
Yes.
back then, and it was calcified
Hmm.
with, like, with all the technology that affected it, whether it's like the minerals in the water or the
Yeah.
toothpaste, that things like that. So
Mhm.
the practice of trying to slow down time
Mhm.
through discovering yourself has been slowed down and forgotten because of what society has grown up to, like, or has been accustomed to do in their daily life. which is like mind blowing. But like, I'd love to touch up on that, and then like the the magnitude of the brain, of like what we're capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What are your thoughts on that?
my thoughts on that.
So your
So the
thoughts are going
pineal,
100
I
miles an
always
hour.
also worry about saying this wrong with the pineal gland, the pineal gland.
Pineal, pine. I don't know,
Pine. It's the size.
pineal.
It looks like a pine. It's the size of a pine. Um, so I know we hear about a lot of stories in like the history or the ancient times,
Right, where people have a metaphysical
metaphysical
experience.
experiences,
Meta.
or like mystical encounters with the divine, and it seemed like it's a more common occurrence
Of the
of
past.
the past,
Yeah.
right? But really, it had to do with the size of the pineal gland. So one thing I read is the pineal gland used to be the size of a lemon, and
Oh,
imagine like
lemon.
a lemon, yeah. So it used to occupy a lot more place. Some people say it is the seat of the soul. I mean, of course, we don't know exactly
You
where
said the seed or the seat?
the seat,
The seat.
like the seat
Oh my gosh.
of the soul. People describe the seat of the soul in the body in different places.
Wow.
Like, for example, a common one is the psoas muscle, but
Mhm.
also a common one is the pineal gland.
Yeah. That one was crazy.
It is. And over time, as a result of we said our choices and what we do with time has
Mhm.
consequences, right?
Mhm.
So we've seen like different civilizations, different human actions, like, and it shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk.
Because it's not being utilized. So
And,
it's like the appendix.
but also a consequence of us stepping further and further away from the divine,
Mhm.
right? It's like if I give you this like beautiful gift, and not you, but like let's say someone doesn't have any gratitude or appreciation for it and throws it to the side, right? The next time, am I going to give you that something like that again, or maybe something a little bit,
Smaller.
right?
Yeah.
And then eventually I might just not choose to give something because, okay, this person is not like appreciating it or taking it for granted.
Mhm.
Well, I feel like that's how it is with that,
With us,
like,
with the pineal gland,
yeah,
giving time to it.
giving
Oh my God.
you know, I'm not putting as much effort or attention to connect to the divine. I'm not giving as much attention to really cultivating that relationship, right? And I'm stepping further away from the light of God. And with that, I feel like that gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Couple that with pollution and toxifications in our food and water and even produce and
Everything. Everything. In
everything.
society. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, everything you're saying is true,
Mhm.
but it's like, where was the turning point of us not giving enough care for it? Because there's so many stories back then of that. Like you said, the metaphysical
Yeah.
experience that people have. So what is it that, like, or who was it that just was like, yeah, actually, it doesn't really matter. So you don't have to worry about it.
It's gradual. I think it's gradual. Over time, what has humanity done? Have we invested in like making the earth a better place? Have we invested in making the collective consciousness better? Have we really tried to balance things so that more people have a better quality of life? Right? And as a result of our actions, things are going to happen that not just affect me or you, it affects everybody,
Mhm.
right? How they always have this like common saying of like a butterfly flapping its wings on one continent will affect like the tides and the wind in another continent. And we think that we're a butterfly. We think our one action is insignificant, but really it has huge repercussions on all of humanity. And we may not realize it, but we do have that level of impact on one another.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
think I want to I know I recommended a book last week,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna recommend a book this week.
What?
I know it's. I think we should have like a weekly recommendation.
Okay, we
you know,
will.
like we recommended 2 books last week.
We did.
You did the culture. No,
We did
Secrets of the Divine,
Secrets of the Divine.
and I said the Power of Now.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 more today.
You want to recommend a book too?
I
Oh, let's
love-
do it.
okay.
So, oops. The book that I want to recommend is Becoming Supernatural, and it specifically talks about getting to the pineal gland, and that is literally the last chapter of the book, because he trains you with meditation throughout the book. Like, this is the meditation. Okay, now you have to do the meditation, and then here until you reach the part where you are ready to reach the pineal gland,
Mm.
which and he backs it up with science. And there's so many stories of it. So I just want to tie back with keep your thought, keep your thought. I want to tie back to it where I said the mind is very strong into if you believe you're sick, then you are sick.
Mhm.
And if you will believe that you will get better,
Mhm.
and it's not just manifestation, it's the positive energy, you know?
Yes.
Um and I know this whole like podcast we're just talking about time, but this all like ties together. And so like there's a story about this woman who was living with her kids, living with her husband, you know, she has a good life, right? Then one day she got a knock on the door by the police, and she was informed that her husband has committed suicide. And her whole life, I mean, of course, it's a very tragic situation, but the way she handled it throughout her life, you know, like she lost her home, she kept being in bad relationships, got I don't know what welfare children, like you know, she has it just kept spiraling down.
Mhm.
And in during the time she developed like um what is it like I don't know if it's cancer or not. I think it was cancer. And then she like you know had maybe something with her throat and like her back, and she lost feeling in her legs, and because of the consistent negative energy that she kept being in this fight or flight mode, which is very dangerous for the body. It's the adrenaline that's very
Yes.
dangerous.
Cortisol
Cortisol,
spiking up.
everything. And so when she went to the meditation seminar, Joe Dispenza, that is the author of the book. And so like when she went to one of his seminars, uh the one thing that she took from it is to at least meditate every day and to tell herself to love today. Whatever the case is, come back and just make sure you love today, and just enjoy the moment, enjoy the process and things like that. And over time, Rosie, she got feeling in her legs back. The tumor, that's the word, tumor.
Mhm.
The tumor, if it was cancerous, God knows, I forgot what the story was. It went away.
Mhm.
She turned her life around. She bought a house. Her kids are doing great. But it's just the moment of the switch
Mhm.
that she did, and she eventually reached the pineal gland with it. You know, like for example, like something very specific where she couldn't salivate properly because like with taste and everything, and she like meditated. Of course these are extreme stories,
Yeah.
but like she focused and like yeah, like I want to gain this health back, and she did through the meditation by reaching the pineal gland and
Wow.
making it stronger. Yes,
That's amazing.
that's the book.
Well, we think these are extreme stories, but they're more common than what we think.
Hmm.
And really shifting the mindset. You said that point.
That point of switch,
Shifting the
yeah.
mindset. It's not just I'm changing my thought about this. You can shift the whole paradigm of your life and channel into living your life differently.
Hmm.
And that's the moment of like, okay, I've elevated a little, I've ascended a little.
And because that was just like the quote from Avatar, when you're at your lowest point, you are open to the change of possibilities, which was she was
Yes.
at her lowest point. It's like,
Yes. Don't underestimate those moments.
mm-mm,
Actually, use them as a self serving catalyst for growth.
mm-hmm,
It's very, very
mm-hmm.
important.
Tell me your book.
My book is called, I mentioned it last time, it's called Physicians of the Heart.
Oh, we
Okay.
didn't dive deep into that one.
We
You
didn't.
mentioned it. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But speaking of the mind and its healing ability, its powerful healing ability on the body,
Hmm.
Physicians of the Heart. And no, I'm barely like, you know, a third of the way through it.
Yeah, but I
But
mean, you learn a like you're invested in it. You learn so much
Mhm.
within like just those little pages that probably you read.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's a beautiful way of describing how so it starts with talking about the names of God, the names of Allah.
Oh, so it's an Islamic book.
Yeah.
Ah, it's so
And it
cool.
is a Sufi view. So Sufism is more of like the mystical, metaphysical study of the divine in Islam. It's more where I find myself drawn. It's that magical, like romantic, philosophical interpretation of the expression, right, of the
Mm,
scriptures and the words.
mm.
So this talks a lot about the names of God and how they're healing words.
That's right. I remember you saying that. Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah. It's funny because I was trying to think of like the as you were speaking of it, like the names of Allah, and I'm like, yeah, like it is very healing, and it's like
It
a
is.
poem.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And of course, Allah is not limited to just these names, but there's a wisdom. And why are these 99 descriptions given?
Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Al-Malik Al-Quddus Al-Salam Al-Mu'min. Wow, my God.
See, you know a lot more than you think, right?
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, beautiful words. They're used as literally as medicinal healing words for the body, for the heart, for the mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Highly, highly recommend it. But really talks about like the importance of, again, tying this back to time.
Mm-hmm.
Think of your time spent doing certain things as an investment,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Agreed.
So I want to leave you with like not spending time. Be more intentional on consciously investing your time.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to invest it in?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want to invest it in?
Mm-hmm.
I want to filter, for example, like the content I'm consuming. I want to filter and create healthy boundaries to the influences that are competing for my attention and to be in my life and in my light, right?
Well said. Yeah.
And where do I want to invest my energy?
Mm-hmm.
It's important to really, really set that intention, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
intentionally plan,
Mm-hmm.
but not let the day control me and take over me. And then at the end of the day, where did I invest my time?
You know, it's crazy because when we talk about it, it's like, for example, right? Consuming, like being consumed with social media. Where do you want to
Mhm.
put your time into it?
Mhm.
And you guys can try to do this practice. I love doing it because it helps me stay present all the time. Where like I do timestamps in my head and I look at the time on my phone.
Mhm.
Where when I start being on social media and start like being consumed into it, and then every couple minutes I look at the timestamp and be like, all right, Sada, like you've been on this for like 5 minutes now. Do you wanna stay longer? Do you think you have the time for it? Because you have other things to do. And those timestamps that I give myself brings me back to being present,
Mhm.
where it's like, okay, this is where I have to invest my time in other things. Like, do you want to be mindless for a couple minutes? Because it's a lot of effort to be present, until
Yeah.
until it becomes effortless, you know?
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, thank you.
It's like a short term sacrifice for a long term
Cool.
reward
Yeah.
or gain.
Yeah. And timestamps are very important when you do things that are not productive for your health, for your mind, for your future. And so it's okay to like put time, because I'll be honest with you, sometimes I let go. I spent 3 hours yesterday watching Only Murders in the Building. I had to finish the season. You
It's a
know what
cute
I'm saying?
show.
It's a cute show. So it's like, do I have time to just be mindless?
Yeah.
You can, and that's okay. But make sure to put more time into investing in yourself, investing like that. But like, be present about it so time can slow down. Yeah. Do you want to sign us off?
Wow. What should I say?
Okay. Well, I'll sign off, and then next week Rosie will sign off. So if you guys love this podcast, not liked, loved, make sure to subscribe and follow wherever you're listening to. And we hope to see you guys next week. Thank you guys for joining. It really means a lot to us. We're having such a good time with it. My name is Sarah.
My name is Rosie.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.